What is up, guys? My name is Anthony and I don't have an intro. Now I have another storytime commentary for you guys, and I know you all absolutely love these. I always get amazing feedback on them because of all the stupid stuff I do and all the trouble I get into. You guys seem to love hearing about all that, and I just love telling you guys because, hey, if I'm going to get in trouble, I might as well have an audience to explain how and why and what I did. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop into the story of the time that I almost killed my good friend while doing something illegal. Alright guys, this story takes place back when I was about 14 years old. Now where I come from in Florida, you have to be 15 to have your permit, which means you can drive with an adult in the car, and you have to be 16 to drive by yourself. Now whenever I was 14, I just could not wait to drive because guys, I love cars, I love driving, I just love everything about them. I was watching a lot of Fast and Furious movies at the time, and I just could not wait to get behind the driver's wheel of a car. Alright guys, and so at this point in time, I had only one experience ever of somewhat driving, and I don't really count it as an experience of driving. My grandmother came over to my house and asked me if I could back her car out of my driveway. So I was like, hell yeah I will. I took her keys, went in the car, got in the driver's seat, put it into reverse, tapped the gas, and little did I know that her V8 engine would go flying out of the driveway, almost take out our mailbox. Then as I slam on the brakes, skid about 6 inches, and no joke guys, the skid marks were on my driveway for a good week, and so that's really the only driving experience I had had at this point in time. Now something that you guys may or may not know is that I have a younger sister who plays volleyball competitively. Now back in the day, my parents would always make me go with her to her games and or tournaments to kind of supervise and watch over her because like I said, she's my younger sister and I need to supervise her apparently. Now these things would usually go from about 10 in the morning to about 4 at night, and they were long and they were boring. I'm not gonna lie. So one time my friend just so happened to come, and he was about 16 at the time. Now, like I said, these things were long and boring, so right around 12 o'clock, which is about 2 hours into this 6-hour-long tournament, me and Connor, that's my friend, decided we were going to go down to the McDonald's and get some food. Now, I'm going to sidetrack this story for just a second and introduce you to something that may be the best invention since the light bulb. It's called the McGangbang, and basically it's you putting together a McChicken and a McDouble and just putting them together, and it is the best sandwich type tasting burger, filet, chicken, burger, tenderness, goodiness, yum you will ever taste in your life. I guarantee it, or your money back. Give it a chance. Unless you're a vegetarian, then that's just kind of awkward. But for real guys, it's amazing. It's called the McGangbang. You should go try it right after watching and liking and loving this commentary / story. So anyways, after drinking our amazing sweet tea and having our delicious McGangbangs, we decided we were going to head back to the gym. Now, the McDonald's was just down the street, and I looked him in the eye and I said, "Hey Connor, can I drive back to the gym?" He looked me dead in the eyes and said no. Then I asked him again and he was like, yeah, sure, okay, why not? So I'm like, alright, let's do this. Now, the one thing that I didn't know that I thought Connor knew is the fact that I had never driven before. Connor thought that I had my license, which is pretty funny because I was 14 at the time and I guess he just didn't know that. So I drove back there, and I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty embarrassing. I was a terrible driver at that point in time, and Connor was like, okay dude, later on today I'm gonna need to take you out and teach you how to drive. And I'm like, okay, this is gonna be great. Now guys, I don't know if any of you have seen The Fast and the Furious, but after watching those movies, you just want to go out and take a car and just go 500 miles an hour down the highway. And I had just had a marathon of watching all 4 of them. At that point in time, there was just 4. And I had a marathon of watching all 4 of The Fast and Furious that night before. And like I said, all I wanted to do was drive. So for the rest of the time, I was just like waiting for him to tell me that we could go out and drive again. And finally, around 2 o'clock, that glorious time came. Now right behind the gymnasium is this large patch of land where you could basically just floor the car if you wanted to, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. So me and Connor get in the car yet again and we start flooring it. Now I hit about 80 miles an hour and I started to turn the car like an idiot, and I literally almost flipped his car. So that's near-death experience number 1, and I'm not even almost done. Now, the only thoughts going through my head at this point are, Anthony, you're a badass, and Anthony, you're behind the wheel of a car. You are so freaking cool. You're in the next Vin Diesel. You're going to be the star in the next Fast and Furious. And I bet, I'm not going to lie, I felt so freaking cool. So, I wanted everybody in the gym to know that I'm awesome because I was driving. So, I asked Connor if I could drive the car around to the front of the gym, do a couple of donuts, and then, park it back where it was. And for some odd reason, he said yes. Now, at this point in time, you're all probably thinking, this can't be good, and each and every one of you who are thinking that are absolutely correct. Now, Connor was like, well, if you're going to do a couple of donuts, we might as well make it cool, so I'm going to go on top of the car and just try to hang on while you do this. And like a dumbass, I'm just like, okay, why not? So, yet again, I start up the car, Connor climbs on top of it, and I slowly make our way to the front of the gym. Now, it just so happened that all of the volleyball games were taking a short recess, so literally, everybody was outside, and I was like, this couldn't be more perfect. Everybody's gonna see how cool I am, and everybody's gonna see Connor jumping on top of the car, trying to hang on for your dear life while I do a donut. This is gonna be great. But it actually wasn't all that great in the end. So, I start making my way out to the front of the gymnasium, Connor's on top of the car, and I start to put that pedal to the metal. Well, I thought it was the pedal to the metal, but in reality we were just going about 15 miles an hour, and we do our first donut, and I'm like, wow, that was awesome. Then I hear a tap on the top of the car, and Connor says, come on, let's do it again, except faster. Insert that's what she said joke here. So I'm like, okay, let's do this again. So I start going a lot faster and I do the donut and I'm like, okay, this is awesome. So then I start flooring it to go back to the back of the gymnasium, but then a volleyball flies out in front of the car and I just stomp on the brakes. And you know what happens whenever somebody's on top of the car, we're going fast and I stomp on the brakes? For those of you who guessed, Connor flying off the front of the car into the concrete, you are correct. Now for just 1 second, think about how this looked to me. I'm in the front of the driver's seat, I'm flooring it because I'm ready to make my disappearing act. I stomp on the brakes, and I see Connor go flying off the top of the car. Now at first, I am not gonna lie, I was cracking up. But then I realized, wait a second, I just flung Connor off of his car. He's probably hurt. So I hop out of the car and rush over to his side to see if he's okay. Now, he turns around and he's like, dude, that was crazy. And my jaw just dropped. Literally, his entire face was filled with blood. There was nothing but cuts and scrapes. Then I'm like, oh my god, Connor, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I feel fine, except my head really hurts. And I'm like, that's probably because you cracked it open. So up until this point, I didn't even realize the fact that everybody in this tournament is staring at us. So we are like, oh my god, we need to get out of here. And after assuring a few people that they didn't need to call an ambulance, we just got the hell out of there. And eventually he was okay, but to this day, he has a large scar going down the side of his head. And so every time I see that scar, it is just a remembrance, it's a token of this day. And I see it a lot because I see him every day in school. So anyways, up until this point, I thought that everything was going to be okay. I didn't realize the fact that my sister had seen all this go down. So as soon as I got home, I got chewed out by my parents big time. I pretty much got told that I wasn't going to get my license until I was 17, and that's somewhat true. I got it a little before I was 17, but they were pissed off. And I was in a lot of trouble for a long time. Connor didn't really get in that much trouble. He just had to go get his scar patched up and everything. He actually got stitches on it, but yeah, everything ended up turning out okay apart from me getting in a ton of trouble. And I just thought it was hilarious looking back on it the other day because I was actually just reminded because I saw Connor the other day and I'm like, wow, this would make a great story time commentary. So anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and leave it with a like rating. As soon as this video hits 500 likes / favorites on my channel, I will release the story of my first ever girlfriend, and it is just a hilarious story. It's really awkward, and I really think you guys will enjoy it. Anyways, that's it for me. I'll catch you guys later. Deuces!